Hey guys, welcome back. Joe Chavarria here. New episode on the Joe Credit Show. Today we're going to talk about these new debt collector rules that are on the horizon, which may force them to contact you more on social media. So we'll unpack these new rules, how they apply to you, how to get ready for that. We'll unpack all that and more on a new episode of the Joe Credit Show. So before I begin, I want to remind everybody this information I'm getting ready to go over is not legal advice, not financial advice. If you need the advice of one of those professions, seek them in your area. As well as if you like this video when we're done with it, be sure to give me a thumbs up, like this video. I do appreciate that. And if you have any questions regarding this material, drop them in the comment section, or any feedback you have, drop them in the comment section. We'll definitely appreciate all the feedback, all the questions. I'd love it. And last but not least, if you want to stay up to date on all the credit related material that's out there, be sure to subscribe to my channel, whether you're on my podcast or you're on YouTube or Instagram. Be sure to subscribe so you get up to date information. And I definitely would appreciate that. Okay, so let's get to the topic at hand. There are some proposed changes on the horizon put together by the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And some of these proposed changes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into it. I'm going to talk about what these changes are going to look like. Nothing is set in stone yet, but it is looking to be, I guess, officialized, if I can say that, by the end of December. So this looks like to be, a thing that is on the horizon. So I want to talk about that, and we talk about how to prepare for that. So number one, debt collectors must use a specific voicemail language or message when they're calling someone to collect. So, that means that there has to be like a uniform type of message, a specific type of message they're going to be leaving on voicemails. If your guys, are getting some debt collectors calls, calls now, they're kind of different, or maybe they're intimidating, look for that to kind of die off. There'll be a specific message they're going to have to follow when leaving voicemails. Debt collectors, they won't be able to use the same exact message template on text messaging or emailing, which does mean that debt collectors are going to be able to communicate by email and text. I know some of you guys may already be receiving text messages or emails from debt collectors. If you're not, be on the lookout for that to pick up because of some changes that are coming. Debt collectors, they must ensure by email, and if they're going to email you and text you, they do have to make sure that you are that person on the other end. Didn't really specify how they're going to do that, but somehow they have to verify you are that person on the other end. Maybe they'll send an email to click to confirm it is your email address, or a text message to confirm that it is you. So we'll see how that will play out. And another thing is that debt collectors are going to be able to use social media to contact you. So, be on the lookout for debt collectors to increase their text messaging, their emailing, and their social media DMs, their direct messages, because of these proposed laws changes. Because what's happening is that the CFPB is putting more pressure on the debt collectors to no longer pursue the heavy phone call effort. So the debt collectors are going to be no longer able to place more than 7 calls within a 7-day period. So, generally, probably right now, I do believe that a lot of third-party debt collectors are pretty aggressive. They may call 2 or 3 times a day. And look for that to kind of die off, because they're not going to be able to place more than 7 calls within a 7-day period. And that also means if you're a consumer and you pick up the call and it's a debt collector, let's say it's attempt number 6, they called you 6 times, and on the 7th time they finally caught you and they got you on the phone, and you have a short conversation with them, and it's within, it's under the 7-day, period of time, they're not able to, they have to wait. They have to wait till they hit another, fresh 7 days before they can be able to contact you. So those are some things to change there. And if there are any, disobedience with this order, then it would be considered a violation of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So a lot of things to change here. And I want to talk about what does this mean for you as a consumer, what to be on the lookout for, because with these changes that are on the horizon, there's going to be some things that you need to be prepared for as a consumer, some do's and do nots, so you know what those look like. But before I get into that, I want to just let everybody know that if you are in the process of wanting to repair your credit, wanting to restore your good credit rating, but you're not sure where to begin, you're doing research online, you don't really know what to believe, you just don't have the time to really mess with this. Maybe you've also contemplated hiring a third-party collection or credit repair company, but you really don't know where to trust, you don't really know where to go to, a lot of information online, you don't know what to believe, and you're just kind of stuck. Well, I want to give you an opportunity to get unstuck. And the best way to do that is you go to my website, if you go to joechavarria.com, /links. I'm going to have helpful articles in there. I got guides, resources, free credit tips. I even have a credit monitoring service that I recommend that if you're going to repair your credit yourself, you need the proper credit monitoring website so you can track your progress, see your report from all 3 credit reporting agencies, not just 2 like Credit Karma, and know in real time what is going on with your credit. Also, if you would want to just hire someone to do it, or at least have a professional look at your credit report, there's going to be a link in there to schedule a no risk, no obligation, completely complimentary credit review with one of my team members at the credit agents, which I personally train all of them. These guys are great. And what they're going to do is they're going to look at your credit report with you, break things down for you, explain how things work, point out the obvious errors and misleading information on your credit report, and talk about what the game plan is going to be to get that information corrected or removed from your credit report. So if you want to get unstuck and get your credit moving in the right direction, go to joechavarria.com /links to get helpful guides, helpful resources, and schedule your no risk, no obligation credit review by one of my team members at the credit agents. Again, joechavarria.com /links to get unstuck and get on your way to better credit. Okay, so now let's talk about what to do with these new debt collector rules on the horizon. What does this mean for you, and how do you get prepared for that? So obviously, the DMs can be kind of weird. As an avenue that they have to pursue collection efforts. And I know the CFPB's intent is to make this a better experience for a consumer, but I don't think they really understand the other side of the equation, because many of them are Ivy League, graduates, went to Ivy League schools, and they really don't know what it's like to be on the opposite side of a debt collector. So I don't think this is going to be very helpful, because when you put these rules on the number of times that a debt collector can call you by phone, that means there is going to be an increase in text messaging and emailing. And if you give social media an avenue, then look for that to increase. And the other thing too is, let's not forget that if you cut off all forms of communication from a debt collector, also known as a cease and desist notice, then you put them in a position to where the only way they can get your attention is to sue you. And so this is something that I learned, probably 15 years back when I got into the industry in the debt settlement space, is debt collectors are likely to sue if the debt amount is usually right around $1,500 or more. And of course, they have like a weighted average or a scale they're looking at to determine, is this someone worth suing, or is this someone that we maybe want to just sue them just to intimidate them, to scare them, and to get them to call. That has kind of died down a little bit, but look for that to pick up a little bit more because of these changes. So the average consumer, if they're getting text messages and emails and social media messages, look for them to push forward to say, hey, stop contacting me. Don't contact me anymore. Because there are going to be a lot of opt-out, scenarios. Would you like to opt out of this communication? Most people are like, yeah, absolutely. Opt out of this. I don't want to hear from it. And so if you're on the opposite side of this and you cut off all forms of communication from a debt collector, look for the litigation part of it to pick up. Because in order for them to get your attention to resolve the debt, look for them to sue, try to summons you to court. A lot of them will file the lawsuit, but, and they will pursue legal action. They don't want to, but they'll do it to sort of scare you into calling them. And if you don't call them and they have a good case and they go to court and you just don't show up, then the judge generally will offer them or award them a default judgment, which they win by default. And in which case, if they win by default, they have a court order to pursue collection remedy. And they can go the route of a bank levy, things like that. So you don't want it to get that far. And so, just look for that. I would say with these proposed changes, try to do your best to keep an open dialogue, know the rules of the game. If you know the rules, you know how to play by the rules. You know what advantages you have. Like, for example, they can't contact you more than 7 times within a 7-day period. And if they contact you more than that, you have a potential FDCPA violation. You can forward it to an FDCPA attorney, and you may have something there to pursue legal action against a debt collector, maybe get the debt forgiven as part of your settlement agreement. Again, no no legal advice here. Talk to a licensed loan officer, licensed attorney in your area to learn more about this and your rights as a consumer. But know the rules so you know exactly what they can and cannot do so you can be best prepared for it. I would be very cautious about cutting all forms of communication off from the debt collector, because you don't want to pursue the legal route and have them suing you, and then you forget all about it. You don't have time to go to court, and they win by default. That can actually be an uglier mess for you. So that's what I wanted to share with you in terms of what these new laws on the horizon, that are coming. They're not in motion yet, but they plan to finalize this in December of 2020. So know the rules, do your research. I'll plug a link to this somewhere on my website or somewhere in the comment section. So I don't know where it's going to be, but I'll put a link on that to read up more on that, or you can Google it as well. But these are the changes that are on the horizon. So it's best to know what these rules are going to be, so that way you're prepared and not caught off guard by it. So again, I'm Joe Chavarria. This has been another episode of the Joe Credit Show. Hope you enjoyed this information. Be sure to like this video if you did. Let me know what you think in the comments section below, as well as provide me any feedback that you can in the comment section. If you like this information and you want to stay up to date, be sure to subscribe to my channel as well. I'm Joe Chavarria. I'll see you on the next episode of